94.3 The Shark, Everything That Rocks. A Long Island girl with us in Carey. Her second EP, Outlier, comes out in September. The single is I Smile. Now, we're Everything That Rocks. And it's so funny because you toe that line between pop and rock to the point where it's like, this does rock. It's pop, but it rocks. Like, it's a very conscious effort to skate the line of music genres. Did you do that on purpose?
I think it's just the way that I grew up musically. Like growing up, I've always been a pop girl at heart, Spice Girls, Britney, Backstreet Boys. But like, I also grew up going to Warped Tour. I was there every summer. I was at every Bamboozle festival. Fall Out Boy and My Chemical Romance are my heart. So it only makes sense that like I would come upon my second release, it would be Michelle Branch, it would be Avril, because those are the best of both worlds. Those are, you know, the melding of like the best of pop and the best of rock. And that's just kind of where I fall in line. So I think it makes sense.
Did you go to the Warped Tour at the Nassau Coliseum out in the parking lot? I can't remember.
I did. So I used to go when it was in Nassau Coliseum. And then a couple of years ago, before the tour ended, they moved it to Jones Beach. And I actually got to like meet Kevin Lyman and like have a cool little back and forth with him. So that was a good time. But yeah, I was there to see Katy Perry. I was there to see Tonight Alive. I saw We the Kings a million times, Motion City Soundtrack, which is one of my favorite bands. So I've always been on like the more pop side of rock, but like there's still heart in that, you know what I mean? It's like the vision of rock is still alive in pop punk, and I think that's what makes it so special.
The influence is blaringly in I Smile. The single is out now. We're talking to Carey on 94.3 The Shark, Everything That Rocks, a winner of Long Island Idol. Now, the interesting thing about I Smile is that I listened to the lyrics, and it's got this very happy tone, but the lyrics are not so happy. There's sort of a contrast there.
Yeah, you ever have that feeling where you're sitting down with somebody and you're really excited about what you're talking about, but the other person's like, are you sure about that? Like, is that really a good idea? And you're like, I know it's a good idea, but you clearly don't believe in me. But instead of making a scene, because I am an adult, I'm going to sit here and have a civil conversation with you. But as soon as I leave, wherever we are, I'm going to go what I was going to do anyway, because that's who I am and that's what I do. And that's kind of what the song is about. And I feel that so many people have encountered that before. And I feel like as you go and make your own path in life, the people close to you don't always see the vision the way that you do. So that's kind of what this song is about.
If only people took the idea of the song and applied it to the internet, and we would have less yelling back and forth.
I agree.
I Smile is a great pop punk song. Do you hear blatant influences in the song? Like, were you going for a certain sound?
I never really like go for a certain sound. It's funny. I'm very much like, in my heart of hearts, I am more like Bob Dylan, where it's like the lyrics and the melody. And it's like, that's kind of what I come to the table with. And then when I work with amazing musicians and amazing producers, we end up coming up with the arrangement. And pop punk is kind of like my default because it's what I grew up loving. But I also have a country song coming up on this EP. So it's kind of just like wherever I feel like it goes. But my amazing producer, Brian Fennelly, and Daniel Jung, who played guitar and bass on this whole album, they saw like that chunk of Paramore in me, and they were like, we're making this happen. So, and I mean, I love Paramore, so that was fine with me.
We're talking to Carey on 94.3 The Shark, Everything That Rocks. Outlier is the EP that will be out in September. The single, which is out now, is called I Smile. Now, when you tour this EP, considering that you had designated musicians on the album, do you have a band that you will tour with to promote this?
So usually when I play live, I end up playing acoustic because most of the time it's either opening spots or I end up playing 2 or 3 hour gigs. Like a couple summers ago, I had like a little mini residency at the Tiki Bar at Sunset Harbor in East Patchogue, and I would play like 3 hour chunks where it was like covers and my originals, but it was just an acoustic act because at the time I was so much younger. It's really hard to pay a band. If I end up getting bigger spots, then like, yeah, a band is totally worth the discussion. And I have worked with so many amazing people that I would love to have in that spot. But just for right now, especially since with everything opening back up and we don't really know what the guidelines are going to be for places and things are always changing, like I have something in the works right now, but like they still don't really know if we can do it because everything changes so often. So for the time being, it's probably going to be acoustic. But if I end up getting those bigger spots, then like a band is definitely a thing that I will do.
Do you write with a band in mind, or do you write acoustically because you play so many acoustic gigs?
That's a really good question. The way that I view songwriting is that if you break it down and it's a voice and an instrument and it's still a solid song, you've done your job. So when I write, I typically do either write on piano or I write with my acoustic guitar. And if it sounds solid with just one instrument and one voice, you know it's going to make a good arrangement. So when I go into the studio, whatever arrangement it comes out in is how it comes out. But I know that these are songs that have to work in a small room and these are songs that have to work in a big room. So if I can make it work in that Nashville Writers Round setting, I can make it work at Jones Beach. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Outlier is going to come out in September. I Smile has definitely got a power pop punk element to it. And you say that there's going to be a country song on it as well. So if the country song or I Smile really stand out and starts to take off, will that influence your decision on how you're going to write in the future? Or are you just going to keep throwing things at the wall because that's your creative spirit?
Definitely go with the creative spirit. Again, like if you take it and you break it down and it's still good with a voice and one instrument, you can make it anything it wants to be. So as long as it's got a solid skeleton, whatever body you build around it is going to work. Because like some songs, like, I don't know, in the future, there could be some like dance EDM remix of I Smile, but it still works because it's a good song. So it doesn't really, it's always going to have that pop punk kind of spirit to it, but it's never really going to matter what the arrangement around it is, as long as the song is still good. And I think that's the thing that makes it so, that's what makes music so special, right? Because you have a song like Take Like Believe by Cher, right? That was like a very crazy thing to happen for the time. It was auto-tune, it was dance, but Miley Cyrus just covered it as a rock song on her Pride special. So like that's the song is good. So as long as the song is good, you can build it around whatever. So I think my writing will always have like a pop punk spirit to it, but the arrangement that's built around it, I think is just going to be, we're going to throw stuff at the wall and see what works.
We're hanging out with EJ Carey on 94.3 The Shark, everything that rocks. So you've played pretty much all over Long Island, but if there was, for a musician who's definitely paid her dues on this island, where is that one Long Island venue that has eluded you? Like, what would be the place for you to play?
This is going to sound like a cheesy answer, but I used to be a seat usher at the Paramount in Huntington. And I think if I was able to fill that room on the main stage, my Long Island heart would be as happy as she possibly could be. I'd be happier than like having a sausage, egg, and cheese in my hand, like happier than anything.
Such a Long Island answer.
I mean, listen, it's funny because there's nowhere else in the world that makes egg sandwiches the way that we do. You don't get a poppy seed roll anywhere else. You don't get the fried egg anywhere else. You go other places and you're like, what do you mean you don't have a bacon, egg, and cheese? Like, what is this? So I would be so happy if I ever got to do that. I think that's my final answer.
EJ, what is your social media handle so we could follow you?
So everything on every channel, every site is at EJ Carey Music. So just my name, EJ Carey, Carey Music. Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all YouTube, all of it's the same. So you don't ever have to get confused.
And how do we find I Smile?
I Smile can be found anywhere you stream music. So if you're a Spotify person, if you're an Apple Music person, if you like Tidal, if you're on Deezer, just search I Smile EJ Carey and it should come up because I paid for it to be there.
Cool. All right, EJ, I